stop and look directly at the mechanism that is moving around you. Reality is not a static canvas. It is a field constantly observing and responding instantly to the quality of consciousness you emit. There is no hidden entity behind the veil. It is this very field that measures every subtle shift within you, reading each line of thought, weighing every rhythm of emotion, recording every state of being, and collapsing infinite possibilities into a specific orbit that matches the degree of coherence you hold. This is not theory to admire from a distance. It is a direct experience you have touched countless times without naming it. You think of someone and the phone rings, you need a piece of information, and the exact document appears. You nurture, fear and circumstances rearrange themselves to confirm that fear, none of this is random. It is the precise response of the field to the signal you are broadcasting. And what matters most is that it is never passive. It does not stand aside and record. It interacts, adjusts, collapses, and shapes, choosing reality according to the content your consciousness sends in each moment. On a deeper level, everything you call luck or misfortune is simply the resonance between your internal signal and the measuring mechanism of the field. When you are coherent, when thought, emotion, body, and expectation align without pulling in different directions, the field reads a clear signature and responds with matching order. Doors open at the right time, the right people appear, moments synchronize as if by design. When you are fragmented, when desire and belief contradict each other, the field receives a distorted signal and reflects it back as disorder, delay, missed timing, and disconnection. Because the field can only mirror, it cannot correct you. It is simply a mirror, perfectly honest and infinitely responsive. There is a subtler truth. You may have ignored that feeling of being watched even when you are alone. It is not imagination. It is the sensation of the field focusing its attention on you at higher intensity. That intensity increases as your consciousness reaches a threshold where the capacity for deliberate direction begins to awaken. During those times, coincidences accelerate the lag between thought and manifestation, shortens the fragments of reality, snap into their places, and you feel unsettled only because you have not yet learned to name the rhythm of this unfolding. You do not need to add spiritual decoration to this process. Only absolute honesty with yourself, because the field always reads what is. It does not listen to words. It is not convinced by affirmations. It measures your true frequency. It identifies your real content. If within you there is lack, every statement of abundance only creates noise. If within you there is fear, every surface act of courage adds tension. The mechanism is simple, yet exacting it prioritizes coherence. It responds according to the degree of harmony between thought, emotion, and body. The more aligned they are, the clearer the signal, the faster the reflection. The more fragmented, the more chaotic the feedback. You might wonder why methods that once worked gradually lose their power. You have meditated, affirmed, visualized, and for a while results came. Then everything returned to the old pattern, not because the methods failed, but because the underlying signal within you was stronger than the words and images you tried to plant. When you stopped practicing, the deeper signal reclaimed, controlled the field, read that level, and responded faithfully. To solve this, you must move into a new layer of awareness. Instead of decorating the surface, examine the alignment of your entire inner system, release control, and allow what is present to be seen completely. That very act of allowing dissolves resistance, increases coherence, and as coherence rises, the signal becomes clear and the field responds accordingly. Notice the moments when you are deeply calm. Not calm because you suppress, but because you see, understand, and accept. In those moments, decisions come effortlessly, actions flow without strain, opportunities arrive without chasing. This is not magic, it is the natural order of reflection when the signal is clean and unified. You have touched this rhythm more times than you think. You simply have not learned to sustain it long enough to turn it into reflex. From here, the key is to change your fundamental question. Instead of asking how to get what you want, ask how to become the kind of person for whom that outcome is natural, because the field responds to state, not to desire. When you change state, you change the way you exist, the way you feel, the way you see, and the way you act. The field reorganizes immediately. The physical layer only needs time to reveal what has already shifted in the quantum layer. You can verify it through subtle signs: the ease in your body, the clarity in your mind, the warmth in your chest. Then the outer symbols begin aligning. One crucial point: the field's observation mechanism is intensifying. If your life feels faster lately, if crossroads appear all at once, if synchronicities come too often to ignore it, it is the signal that you have reached a new energetic threshold. Your ability to direct consciously is ready to activate. This is the moment to leave behind unconscious broadcasting and step into disciplined, deliberate emission, not by tightening control, but by refining, untangling contradiction, strengthening authenticity, and aligning your inner rhythm, because control creates distortion while authenticity restores clarity. Look at the evidence. When you fully acknowledge a fear without justification, your body relaxes, your breath deepens, your mind settles. That is coherence. Returning the inner division softens, the signal clears, and the outer reflection becomes less chaotic. When you genuinely appreciate what you already have, not out of forced gratitude, but true recognition, scarcity dissolves and flow resumes. That is a sign of frequency rising, and the reflection adjusts. When you choose integrity in private moments, not from fear, but from inner alignment, the field registers and responds with more reliable synchronicities. The rest of the journey will go into techniques, but for now, the essential shift is in perception. You are not standing outside, observing a fixed world. You are within a responsive field. Every moment is a measurement, every decision a command, every state a song, and the field is the instrument reading each note and replaying it as your life. So simplify the question: what am I broadcasting right now? Is that signal coherent? Does it reflect who I choose to become? If not, there is no need for guilt, only adjustment. Speak less, perform less. Listen more to your body, your heart, your thought. Let those three layers align. Take one small step in that alignment, and you will see how swiftly the field answers, how doors align with your frequency, and how you realize that the mechanism has always been there, patiently waiting for you to notice, to use it with intention, precision, and quiet mastery. The fluctuations you call coincidences are in fact the field's feedback system becoming more refined. It is not the random repetition of events. It is the energy map shifting to match the frequency you emit. The more awake and aware you become, the faster and clearer the reflection, because when consciousness grows subtle enough to observe itself, the field no longer maintains the safe distance it once did. It moves closer, measures deeper, and reveals the mechanism that you once could only sense faintly. This is why time now feels distorted, why events unfold out of sequence, why moments seem to repeat, why memories do not align with the experiences of others, as if reality is sliding across parallel layers. It is not a failure of memory. It is the sign that you are witnessing the collapse of probabilities into concrete form. You are seeing the process of creation before it finishes, and that can feel disorienting because the mind is not yet used. to the idea that nothing is fixed and everything is constantly being rebuilt each second. Some days you feel observed not by people but by space itself, by light, by sound, by the air around you, watching your every movement. And if you pause in those moments and look deeper, you will sense something strange, not fear, but a kind of complete exposure, as if there is nowhere left to hide, because the quantum field sees through every role. It is not concerned with the image you project. It only reads your true frequency. That is why when you pretend to be fine, pretend to be joyful, pretend to be confident, everything around you seems to misalign. Plans that once made sense begin to fall apart because the energy within you does not match the performance. But when you are honest enough to acknowledge your fear or pain without escaping, the field responds with precision. People who can resonate with your truth appear chances for healing. Open up, not out of pity, but because authenticity carries a stable frequency. It creates even waves that reality can easily synchronize with. You are living in a time when the boundary between thought and outcome has nearly disappeared. The delay has shortened so much that sometimes you think of something and it materializes instantly through a sentence, a sound, a sign, or a stranger echoing the exact phrase you just thought of. It is no illusion. It is proof that you are entering a zone of heightened observation where your signal is received almost instantly. Every mental state becomes a direct command to the field. Every thought creates ripples that shape nearby events. This overwhelms many because they realize they can no longer hide, no longer fake, no longer blame external factors, since everything is too exact, too reflective, too fast to call coincidence. When you are in flow, everything aligns with impossible smoothness. You meet the right person, arrive at the right place, speak at the right time. Ideas arrive before they are needed. You think it is luck, but it is simply coherence. The field reads a clear signal and responds clearly, and when you are out of tune, everything slows, plans clash, communication twists, time reverses. It is not punishment, it is reflection, precise reflection, so perfect that it can feel as if someone is orchestrating challenges to test you. But no, it is just the mirror of reality showing the exact content of your vibration. The people around you mirror this too, like mobile reflections, sensing your energy field without language. Some are drawn to you because they feel the clarity they crave, others withdraw because your energy exposes their contradictions, and that is natural. Do not force anyone to stay or to understand you. As your field changes, your relationships reorganize. Those no longer resonant will drift away, making space for new alignments. You may also notice your body becoming more sensitive, pressure in the head, faint ringing in the ears, electric pulses along the spine skin. So fine, it seems to hear the heartbeat of air. This is your nervous system adapting to the intensity, but of observation, do not panic. You are not breaking down. It is your body recalibrating to handle faster signals, and the sensations ease as you learn to relax and let energy move freely. Because the observation is stronger, the sense of exposure also heightens. You feel others can see through you, or you can see through them. Secrets no longer stay hidden. Dishonest energy becomes transparent. Masks collapse quickly. None of this is meant to threaten. It teaches transparency, for the field only operates efficiently when the signal is clean, and honesty with yourself is the first step toward that clarity. Remember, when reality accelerates beyond logic, when the impossible happens, often it is not loss of control, it is you seeing the responsiveness of the field. The synchronicity you call miraculous is simply the natural rhythm of energy when it is no longer separate from the consciousness emitting it. The more you understand this, the less afraid you become, and the more you experiment, you send a pure thought and observe the response. You shift emotion and watch reality adjust. You become a student of the quantum reflex. And the deepest realization in this phase is that none of it is meant to scare you. Everything is unfolding to show you the mechanism itself, because once you witness the precision of the field's feedback, you can no longer doubt that you are the center of the measurement. When you know this, you stop acting chaotically. You begin to choose thoughts, states, and directions of attention like a musician tuning rhythm. You understand that even a subtle shift in the quality of your presence can redirect the entire frame of reality around you. And when you sustain that rhythm long enough, life becomes quieter, not because it loses excitement, but because it starts vibrating in perfect phase with you. And in that harmony, everything functions with near absolute precision. No coincidence, no randomness, only pure reflection between you and the field, between consciousness and reality, between observer and observed. That is the moment you truly see there was never a wall between the two, only one current of energy seeing itself through infinite forms. And you are one of those points of reflection, clear, refined learning to look back at yourself through the eyes of the universe. Everything you once believed shaped your destiny, from effort and strategy to luck, is only the surface of a deeper mechanism, one that few dare to face, because it does not exist out there. It exists within you, in the state of being. You are. Right now, the quantum field does not respond to what you say you want. It does not care about your wish lists, affirmations, or visualizations. It reads only one thing: the composite frequency that radiates from your thoughts, emotions, body, and deepest beliefs. When these four layers move in harmony, the signal becomes clear, pure, whole, and reality responds almost instantly. But when one layer falls out of tune, when your mind thinks positive but your heart still fears, when you claim trust but your body stays tense, when you imagine abundance but your core belief is scarcity, the signal breaks into static, and the field can only reflect that distortion through twisted, repetitive experiences that make you believe the universe is against you, when in truth it is simply operating with absolute honesty. Look back at how many times you tried to change your life through willpower, setting goals, applying discipline, building plans, yet feeling some invisible force pull you backward. That is because your deepest belief never changed. You were sending two opposite signals, one from conscious desire and one from unconscious doubt. And the field, like a quantum mirror, cannot decide which to follow. So it oscillates between progress and collapse, leaving you exhausted on the path of your own evolution. Once you understand this mechanism, you realize the problem was never external, not your circumstances, not other people, but the internal misalignment. Every attempt to control, every act of forced positivity, every self-soothing mantra is useless if the energetic foundation remains tangled, because the field does not listen to words. It reads emotion. It reads the openness of your heart. It reads how much you truly trust yourself, and that is the real command. When you say, I want freedom, but secretly fear losing control, you emit two opposing frequencies, and the field mirrors, both sending you experiences that feel both restrictive and unstable. When you affirm, I am worthy of love, but doubt your value inside the field detects more doubt than affirmation and brings people who reflect that feeling of abandonment, forcing you to see the signal you are broadcasting. The mechanism is so exact, it cannot be deceived, because its essence is pure reflection, unbiased, without judgment, showing exactly what you are. That is why many find self-development methods short-lived, because they treat only the conscious surface without touching the coherence of the whole system. Meditation can calm you for a moment. Affirmations can make you believe briefly. Visualization can make you feel temporarily aligned. But when you return to daily life, the original frequency reemerges, and the field reflects that root tone, making you think your efforts were in vain. Nothing was wasted. You were learning to refine your signal, to remove inner contradictions so your true voice could be heard clearly. The more you fake positivity, the more distortion you create. Because while your mouth says, trust your body transmits tension, and the field always chooses the body's signal because it is more truthful, the miracle begins when you stop fixing, stop forcing yourself to be right, and simply show up honestly with what is present, including fear, anger, helplessness. In that honesty, coherence restores itself, because authenticity always produces a clean frequency. Even when its content feels uncomfortable, at least it is not split. And the field responds faster to a clean signal than to a beautiful lie. Authenticity is the language the field understands most clearly. It does not require perfection, only truth. When you admit you are afraid, the compressed energy releases your body, softens your thoughts, brighten. That is when your vibration stabilizes, and when the signal stabilizes, the field reads you clearly and responds precisely. That is why transformation often happens the moment you accept what you once denied, because that instant of acceptance is the moment the signal turns transparent. At a deeper level, you see the consciousness and the field communicate not through words, but through energetic structure. And what you transmit is never the content of the thought, but the state you are in while thinking it. Two people may both say, I trust, but one sends an open, calm vibration while the other emits tightness and worry. And the field responds to the vibration, not the sentence. So their outcomes differ completely. This is when you begin to understand why every religion and philosophy points to the same core, not to believe something, but to become it. When you become trust itself rather than talking about it, the field mirrors situations that confirm it. When you become abundance rather than imagining it, flow begins when you become love rather than searching for love. Every interaction carries its tone because the field can only amplify what you are. That is why a truly peaceful person can enter a room full of tension and change its atmosphere just by being there, not through action but through vibration, and the field adjusts instantly. Once you grasp this principle, all attempts to manipulate the external world become unnecessary, because you know that change begins within, in the unity of what you think, feel, believe, and express. You can test this today by noticing when your body tightens and your mind fears, and gently asking, which part of me is broadcasting a discordant signal? That awareness alone is already a correction, because observation is the first step of coherence. When you see clearly without judgment, the signal tunes itself like an instrument, adjusting through listening rather than force. From here, you begin to see that the world is not something you change, but something you tune to, so it naturally rearranges itself. And the secret is that tuning does not require strength. It requires purity. The cleaner the signal, the more precise the reflection, the more genuine you are, the more aligned reality becomes. You do not need to force belief. You only need to clear the contradictions that block natural belief from forming. You do not need to force love. You only need to remove the barriers that stop love from flowing. The natural state of a human being is already in harmony with the field. What you call spiritual practice or self-development is merely the journey back to that original state where there is no resistance, no division, only absolute coherence between inner and outer, between observer and observed. Then you no longer ask how to change reality. You simply ask, who am I being within this reality? Because you understand that your answer to that question is the very command the field receives, and the universe never makes a mistake in its response. You once thought that to change reality, you had to control your thoughts, adjust your emotions, force yourself to think only positive, and reject everything negative. But that very control is what kept you stuck for so long, because in the act of control itself, you created resistance. You were sending two signals at once, one that wanted to improve and one that feared what already is, and the quantum field, as perfectly honest as it is, could only respond to both, resulting in a reality that oscillates between progress, retreat, between hope and fear, between longing and disappointment. You cannot use willpower to force yourself into another version of you, because energy does not understand coercion, it understands coherence. The more you resist what is, the more you amplify its frequency. When you try not to be afraid, all your attention is focused on fear. When you try to be positive, you affirm that something negative must be erased, and so the loop continues. The solution does not lie in control, but in allowing, and allowing is not surrender. It is intelligent acceptance, where you look directly at what is present without reaction, without judgment, without trying to change it, simply recognizing it. In that moment, energy unlocks itself, inner conflict stops broadcasting, and you return to neutrality, where the signal becomes clean and whole. In that state, the field responds with clarity, choices become visible, the body relaxes, the mind clears, and life begins to flow without struggle. You were taught that positivity is the key, that you must stay high vibrational. Avoid negativity, but no one told you that forced positivity is one of the strongest distortions, because it comes from fear of being negative. While honest, negativity is a clean signal. A person who dares to say, I am afraid, I am sad, I am hurt, without running away, is sending a true frequency, and a true frequency, even if low, remains stable. The field reads it clearly and responds with circumstances that allow that energy to dissolve. But a person pretending to be happy while broken inside emits two opposing signals, and the field responds with chaos, creating situations that expose the hidden conflict, often through crisis or loss. What you call challenge is not punishment, it is how the field forces you to face the part you hide, because only by seeing it can you reintegrate it into wholeness. The more honest you are, the more coherent you become. The more coherent you are, the faster and smoother reality reflects. And that is true positivity, a quiet peace that needs no excitement, no pretending to be happy, only the absence of resistance. When resistance ends, energy reorganizes and everything aligns naturally. Many ask if this means they should sit still and accept everything. No, acceptance is not passivity. It is the most refined form of interaction, because you can only transform what you have accepted. What you deny will hold you. When you accept fear, it dissolves because it is seen. When you accept lack, gratitude awakens. When you accept anger, compassion opens. This is the natural law of energy. It does not need to be forced. It only needs to be acknowledged. When energy is no longer suppressed, it becomes coherent. And that is the language the field understands best. The field does not care whether you are happy or sad. It only cares whether you are honest with your current vibration. A person honest in sorrow emits a clearer signal than one faking joy, because honesty brings clarity, and clarity is the field's language. Once you learn this language, you will stop fearing dark phases or confusion, because you know that imbalance is only part of the cycle of equilibrium. And as long as you do not pretend or escape, you are still sending a clean signal. So reflection continues even if the form appears dim. The fastest way to break the loop of suffering is not to think differently, but to feel differently, not to force joy, but to stop resisting what is not joyful. When you stop fighting what is, you finally have energy to create what will be. Your body understands this before your mind does. Notice that each time you accept something, your shoulders drop, your breath deepens, the flow stabilizes, and that is when the field reads the new signal and life begins to shift. All control comes from fear of losing control, so its final result is always loss of control. Allowing, on the other hand, comes from trust that the mechanism is perfect, that the field never makes mistakes, that it only reflects truth. And in that trust, you find liberation. You no longer need to force reality into shape, because reality is already arranging itself around you according to your frequency. The mastery lies in observing without attachment, like a musician listening to their instrument. If a note is off, they do not scold the strings, they simply tune them gently, and the world is the same. Every event is a note reflecting your vibration. If it sounds wrong, do not be angry, just tune. Once you understand this, the idea of good or bad fades. You stop labeling things as right or wrong. You simply ask if they are aligned or misaligned, and when they are misaligned, you correct by shifting state, not by resisting. From here, you see that real power does not lie in control, but in allowing, because when you allow, you no longer stand apart from the flow. You become the flow, and the flow never gets stuck. In that state, your actions become precise, your words soft but powerful. Your presence recalibrates others, not because of what you do, but because your field is clear. This is the new form of power, not the power of domination, but the power of resonance, where everything aligns effortlessly. When you reach this level, you stop trying to change others, because you know that once you shift the field, reorganizes the entire structure around you. This is not blind faith, but direct observation. For when you look deeply, you see the perfect correlation between inner state and outer reflection. You see that every turning point in your life coincides with inner transformation. That truth can be overwhelming, for it returns all responsibility to you, but it also returns all power. From this point on, you no longer beg the universe, you converse with it through your honesty. You no longer seek control, you choose to allow, and in that allowing you discover the freedom you thought required struggle, because freedom does not come from mastering everything, it comes from no longer fearing loss, from knowing the field never takes anything from you, it only returns to you the exact frequency you are. There are rare moments in life when energy seems to gather, space thickens, time stretches, and you sense that you are standing before some kind of threshold, not quite visible but deeply felt. It is the window of transition, the point where the quantum field observes you with its highest intensity, where every signal you emit is read more clearly than ever. And at that moment, each small choice carries the weight of a command sent to the universe. It is no coincidence that in such phases, everything around you seems to happen all at once. Opportunities pile up, challenges repeat, emotions amplify, dreams sharpen, and intuition becomes almost physical, because the field is focusing all its attention on you, reading whether you are ready to become a conscious co-creator or wish to remain an unconscious transmitter at this threshold. Every inner conflict becomes magnified. Everything unresolved rises to the surface, not to punish you, but to be seen, because only under the light can old energy restructure itself. That is why many mistake transformation for crisis, thinking they are collapsing when in truth they are being reassembled. When you understand this, you no longer fear the intensity. You realize that the storm is not here to consume you, but to cleanse the static you have carried too long. A threshold of transformation is always the in-between, where the old has not yet dissolved and the new has not yet formed, a place where you must choose, not with words, but with vibration. If you cling to the old, if you continue to broadcast contradiction, the field will reduce intensity and close the window, and you will wait for a new cycle. But if you dare to stay still, not running, not explaining, not labeling, only feeling fully and accepting completely, the old energy dissolves and a new structure begins to emerge. This cannot be achieved through intellect, for intellect only analyzes, it cannot transmute. Energy transformation happens when you choose to be fully present. When you look